when my mom collapsed at the dinner table after reading those texts. The ones I'd hidden for months. I knew I'd made the biggest mistake of my life, trusting my father. We were having dinner at my parents' house that night. Just the three of us, me, my dad, and my mom. Mom was humming while setting the plates. Dad was scrolling on his phone, smirking at something. Everything looked normal, but my stomach twisted every time he chuckled at a text, because I knew something my mother didn't, and I had promised, foolishly, to keep it that way. 3 months earlier, I had dropped by my father's office unexpectedly. He had forgotten his prescription meds at home, and Mom asked me to drop them off. When I opened the door, he wasn't alone. A woman, much younger, was standing next to him, laughing at something on his laptop. They jumped apart when they saw me. He introduced her quickly as a new consultant, but I saw the way her hand lingered on his arm, and I saw the lipstick stain on his coffee mug, the same shade she was wearing. At first, I told myself I was imagining things. My father, the man who'd built our family, who bought flowers for my mom every Friday, who tucked me in when I was sick. It couldn't be, but something inside me stirred, a suspicion I couldn't silence. I started paying attention. He stayed later at work, became possessive with his phone, his cologne changed, and then I saw the text. He had left his phone on the kitchen counter when we were visiting for my mom's birthday. It buzzed. I glanced. The screen lit up with, "Last night was perfect. I still smell like you." My heart sank. I picked up the phone. The sender's name was saved as work marketing. A clever lie. I didn't sleep that night. The next morning, I confronted him privately at his office. He tried to laugh it off. "It's nothing. A stupid mistake. You weren't supposed to see that. You're cheating on Mom. It's over, I swear I was going to end it." "Then end it now. Tell her." He looked panicked, like a cornered animal. "She can't know, Emma. You know your mother's health. She won't survive something like this." He placed his hand on mine. "Please don't tell her. I'll end it. I promise." I stood there, torn between disgust and loyalty. "You have one chance, Dad. One. End it immediately." "I will. And if you don't, you have my word, Emma." I left that office with a knot in my chest. I told myself I'd done the right thing. But I didn't know then that my silence would be his weapon. For the next few weeks, he seemed to change. He started spending more time at home, taking Mom to the movies, cooking. She was glowing. I thought maybe I'd made the right call, but deep down I never fully believed him. So one night I followed him. He told Mom he had a late board meeting. I parked 2 blocks from his office, waited in my car, watched him exit an hour later, laughing with her. They got into her car, drove away to a hotel. My chest went numb. I sat in that parking lot shaking. I had protected him, lied for him, and he was still betraying her. Worse, he was using me to cover for it. That night, I couldn't even look at myself in the mirror. The next morning, I went to check on my mom. She was humming again, baking banana bread, planning a surprise party for Dad's birthday. "He's been so sweet lately," she told me, beaming. "I think he's falling in love with me again." I nearly threw up. I wanted to scream. I wanted to tell her everything. But the image of her clutching her chest in shock, collapsing from betrayal, haunted me. She had a history of arrhythmia. Stress made it worse. What if she had a heart attack? What if I was the one who broke her? Just as I started planning to expose him anyway, He pulled something even darker. He asked me to deliver a package to a client one afternoon. He handed me a gift bag. I peeked inside later. It was lingerie, with a handwritten note that said, "Wear this tonight. Room 407, I felt sick." He was using me to pass gifts to his mistress. That night, I stood over my sink, shaking. This wasn't just cheating anymore. This was manipulation, deception, abuse of trust. I wasn't just covering for him. I was becoming part of the lie. And it was time I decided. Would I keep protecting my father or finally protect my mother? He looked me in the eye and said, "You're my daughter. That means something, doesn't it?" But all I could think was, since when? I decided that night. I was done being an accomplice. If he wanted to lie, let him lie. But I wouldn't help him do it anymore. The next morning, I handed him back the gift bag with the lingerie. "You give it to her yourself. I'm not your delivery girl." He looked stunned. "Emma, don't do this now. You said it was over." "It is. That was old," I scoffed. "Room 407, Dad. It was dated yesterday." His eyes narrowed. "You're not going to say anything to your mother, you promised me. And you broke your promise." He didn't yell. Instead, he softened. "Sweetheart, your mom isn't strong. You know that. Stop using her heart condition as a shield." "I'm trying to fix things." "No, you're trying to have things, all of them, and you're hiding behind me to do it." He stepped forward, his voice colder now. "Think carefully. If this blows up, it's not just me who'll suffer. Your mother will be destroyed, and you'll be the one who lit the match." He left me standing there, shaking. Not with fear, with rage. I wanted to scream, but instead I drove to my husband's office. Tom had always been supportive, kind, but this was different. He listened quietly as I told him everything. He begged me not to tell Mom, and I didn't. I kept quiet. I even helped him at times. Tom frowned. "Emma, that's not on you. That's on him. You're not responsible for his betrayal." I finally let the tears fall. "I just wanted to protect her. And you still can, but maybe the truth is the protection." Tom suggested we start gathering proof, not to destroy him, but to be prepared, just in case. We went back through Dad's social media, tracked travel receipts, found photos of him in restaurants he never told us about, even hotel bills. Then Tom opened a file he'd found through his company's travel software. It was a hotel invoice. The name on the booking wasn't Dad's, it was mine. "Emma, he used your name to reserve a room. That's fraud." I stared at the screen in disbelief. He's not just lying. He's covering his tracks with my life. That was the moment everything changed. This wasn't just emotional manipulation, it was legally dangerous. He was willing to burn me to save himself. The weight became too much. I started avoiding family dinners, making excuses until Mom called one night, worried. "Are you okay? You've seemed distant." I stared at the phone. "Mom, can we talk? Just us?" We met for coffee the next day. But when I looked at her, saw the way her hands trembled slightly when she stirred her tea, I lost my nerve. "Everything's fine. I've just been overwhelmed with work." She smiled gently. "You always carry too much. You get that from your dad." I almost choked. "No, Mom, I don't get anything from him anymore." That night, I printed every file, photos, receipts, screenshots. I kept them in a folder labeled insurance, because that's what it was, not revenge, not destruction, just proof, in case Mom ever needed it. 2 days later, Dad showed up at my door. He was shaking. "What are you doing?" "Protecting myself." "From me?" "Yes, I'm your father." "Then act like it." He stared at me for a long moment, then lowered his voice. "If you show her those files, I'll make sure she never speaks to you again. I'll tell her you've been jealous, bitter, that you forged them." My mouth dropped open. "You wouldn't. You don't know what I'm capable of." That night I realized this wasn't a man begging for mercy. This was a man backed into a corner. And now he was ready to burn down anyone to protect himself, even me, even her. I thought the silence was protecting her. But the day she found out, and I saw her hands shaking over that letter, I realized the silence had only ever protected him. After Dad's threat, I barely slept. I started locking my doors, changing my passwords. I didn't trust him anymore. Not with my mother, not with the truth, not even with me. Tom tried to keep me grounded, but I could feel my world unraveling thread by thread. And through it all, my mother kept smiling, planning their anniversary party, talking about a weekend getaway, calling him her one constant. One Sunday morning, I got a text from an unknown number. It was a photo of my father kissing the same woman outside a cafe. "He's still lying, thought you should know. A friend." I stared at the image for a long time, then forwarded it to myself and to one other person. 2 hours later, my phone rang. A private number. I picked up. A woman's voice, soft but sharp. "I thought he told you. He said his wife knew that they were separated." I nearly dropped the phone. "Who are you?" Clearly the idiot. Then she hung up. That was it. The last lie, the last drop in a poison well. I called my mom and told her I was coming over alone. When I arrived, she was folding laundry. "Is everything okay, sweetheart?" "No." I sat her down and handed her the folder labeled insurance. She opened it slowly. Photo after photo, printouts, messages, room invoices. The color drained from her face. "What is this?" "It's real." She looked at me, tears welling. "How long have you known?" I froze. "A few months." "And you didn't tell me?" I was trying to protect you too, by letting me live in a lie." "Mom, I didn't know how to tell you. Dad, he said you'd get sick. So you trusted him instead of me?" I sat there, crumbling. "I thought I was doing the right things." She stood up. "You thought wrong." She left the room, shut the bedroom door. I sat in the living room for nearly an hour. When she came back out, she looked different, older, smaller, like something inside her had broken for good. "Tell him not to come home tonight." "Mom? And if he does, I won't be here." She walked past me, and that was the first time I saw her as someone he had broken, not just emotionally, but physically. Tom picked me up from her house that night. I didn't speak the entire drive. When we got home, I curled up in bed and cried until I was hoarse. "I broke her." "No," he said softly. "He did." But I couldn't let go of the guilt, because I had helped him lie for months. The next evening, I was at Mom's house again. She was calm, empty. Then we heard the front door open. He walked in like nothing had happened. "What's going on? Why the silence?" She looked at him, then at me. "Did you tell him?" I nodded. "Good," she whispered. "I don't owe him silence anymore." She stood up. 32 years and you chose her, over me, over our family." He tried to speak. She held up a hand. Don't Don't you dare say it was a mistake. You repeated that mistake in hotel rooms, restaurants, through our daughter. He looked at me, furious. You said you wouldn't tell her, and you said you'd stop. My mom walked past both of us, grabbed her coat, and turned at the door. I'm going to stay with Aunt May for a few days. You don't have to. I do. Then before leaving, she said, Emma, thank you, and I'm sorry you had to carry his shame. I'd kept it all hidden, believing silence was love. But that night, when my mom clutched her chest at the dinner table and whispered, "How long?" I knew the silence had been the sharpest betrayal of all. The house was quiet, empty, like a stage after the curtains closed. My dad stayed in the house alone. My mom didn't return. She called me every night, though. Brief, cautious updates from Aunt May's. She was hurting, but she was also breathing freer. I don't know who I was living with all these years, Emma, she said once. But it wasn't my husband. Without her to play his audience, my father started slipping. He called me multiple times, left voicemails that swung between apologies and accusations. You've ruined this family, Ricot. I should have never trusted you. She won't come back, fix this. I blocked his number, then unblocked it, only to keep the voicemails as evidence. Because part of me still didn't trust how far he'd go. One afternoon, he came to my house. I opened the door just enough to block it with my foot. What do you want? To talk. I'm done talking. Emma, you're my daughter. No, I was your shield, your excuse, your cover, but I'm not your anything anymore. He stared at me, stunned. Then his voice shifted, hard, cold. You'll regret this. I didn't respond. I closed the door and locked it. A week later, Mom told me she'd filed for legal separation. She didn't want to fight for the house. She didn't want spousal support. She just wanted her name back and her peace. He doesn't get another decade of my life, she said. He already stole enough. For the first time in months, I started sleeping again. Tom and I went on weekend walks. I visited my mom without lying. I stopped carrying the weight of my father's shame. The house felt lighter. Even silence felt different, not like a secret anymore, but like healing. 2 months later, my father invited the extended family for a reconciliation dinner, said it was time to move on, to heal. My mother didn't want to go, but I told her I'd go with her as her shield this time. He made a speech, tried to spin things. Like all marriages, we've had ups and downs, but we're stronger than ever. He smiled at Mom. She didn't smile back. Then he said the thing that shattered everything. And I'm grateful to my daughter Emma for keeping this family whole during our difficult time. My mother stood up slowly. You're grateful to her? For keeping the lie alive while you had your fun? The room fell silent. She didn't keep us whole. She just held the truth while you fed us poison. My dad's face twisted. Susan, no, you don't speak for me anymore. She pulled an envelope from her purse and placed it on the table. Those are the papers. Sign them. Aunt May gasped. My cousins stared. And for once, no one defended him. Because the mask had slipped. Because now they saw what we saw. What we had carried in silence. He didn't sign that night, but he did eventually. He moved out of the house they built together. The mistress disappeared shortly after, probably not fond of his new situation. My mom found a part-time job at a local bookstore. She said it reminded her of who she was before she became his wife. One quiet afternoon, I visited her at work. She was stocking a shelf when she turned and smiled. You look lighter. So do you. She walked over and hugged me. You saved me, Emma, even when it hurt. And I'm sorry I ever made you feel like you hadn't. I hugged her tighter. We saved each other. Some lies wear suits and smiles, some betrayals come dressed as love. But the moment you stop protecting what's broken, that's when you finally start to heal.